Why did oxygen make prehistoric creatures grow bigger, and why can't more oxygen make humans grow bigger? High oxygen concentrations help insects specifically grow larger since they lack lungs and can only absorb oxygen through their exoskeleton. Humans are limited by bone strength and the square cube law. A human that is twice as large will weigh 4 times as much, quickly becoming too heavy for their bones to support them enough to stand upright. A lot of creatures don't have respiratory systems, they just breathe through their skin. The amount of oxygen that a cell gets decreases the further away it is from the air. However, if the oxygen content of the air is greater, it can be thicker. Humans and all large modern animals use a respiratory system that transports oxygen throughout the body, meaning oxygen content of the atmosphere doesn't matter for how big it can get. When you talk about humans getting bigger, you have to remember this is an evolutionary process that takes hundreds of thousands to tens of millions of years to see change. Yes, if you increase the oxygen percentage on Earth, animals would change, but you wouldn't see any change in your lifetime. Well, it didn't. More oxygen does not make a thing bigger. It can allow a thing to be bigger, though. Insects, for example, insects don't have lungs, so they just kind of absorb oxygen through their skin. If they get too big, they need more oxygen and have a hard time soaking up enough of it to keep themselves alive. But if the air has more oxygen, then it's easier for them to soak it up, and now they can evolve to be bigger and bigger. But if you just put a grasshopper in a box with a ton of oxygen, it doesn't become a giant grasshopper. All the giant versions died out many years ago. All the grasshoppers would need lots of oxygen in the air to start breeding new, bigger grasshoppers. And even that's only going to happen if 1, they are lucky, and 2, being big is somehow an advantage. If you are referring to dinosaurs, there are some hypotheses that the oxygen might have permitted them to be larger. Here is the problem with the hypothesis: it can't be tested. The level of oxygen varies greatly, and was actually decreasing during the dinosaur periods. The oxygen levels were dropping during the dinosaur period, and continued to drop. What the relationship was will never be known. It made bugs bigger, because they breathe through holes in their skin. The higher oxygen made it feasible for them to breathe at larger sizes, so some of them evolved to be larger. At the time, there weren't really any large terrestrial animals to compete with, so insects filled those empty niches.
Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next exciting video.